Back-to-back meetings are bad. We all know it. So why are we doing it? Just putting that question out there.
I think, we've had this. It's like institutional. Like this is the way it is, right? Which is meetings have to be an hour unless they're not, right? Unless they're definitely not an hour, and it is. So we're stuck in this whole hour meeting. Whereas a lot of things, I think, if we did work beforehand and we're willing to do some work afterwards, we can have the conversation, but then make the decisions in far less amount of time. And then focus on engaging with each other on a more meaningful level, not on a meeting level, right? It's a let's have a conversation where we're just drinking coffee and talking about it, what's going on in our lives, so we can. So anyway, I feel like that's part of the problem. It's not the problem. It's part of the problem of just being so stuck in this. Well, of course, meetings have to be an hour long.
Yeah, I think if we're going to make a change, it also puts a lot more onus on the meeting organizer to think about how can I prepare this meeting so that it's easier for people to attend, easier for people to change context and get into the zone. And what we're talking about with back-to-backs, that if it's important enough, then schedule yourself some wrap-up time after that meeting so that you can pull that all together. Here's the summary. People can check it out if they didn't attend without having to watch the recording. A lot more preparation though, right?
It is. And I think it's a lot more preparation. We have to be willing to look at our meetings more than just, what do I have up next kind of deal. And be able to engage in conversation pre the meeting, so that other people can engage. It's more than just, here's my comment, you deal with it. It's let's have comments, let's provide input, and then when we meet, let's share the notes on the screen, let's come to the conclusion, let's make the decisions, because we've done more than just showed up. We did more than just showed up to the meeting.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's also changing that culture of, like you said, why not have those meeting notes up like a whiteboard so that everyone can see it, correct it, add to it? Like how some of us used to do with OneNote. That just keeps everyone on track if we see what we're talking about and the key things that we're recording. Wow, this has been a really serious chit-chat before go live time.
Indeed.
Wow. Okay, well, let's rock on with it. See you shortly. I missed the hello everyone.
I was pointing at you. Did you not see me in the video? I was pointing.
No, I wasn't.
You do it.
Yeah, okay. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the 365 Message Center show, where we help you plan for change, prevent or fix, stay informed, and have strong opinions about the changes that do arrive in Microsoft 365. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing well. We also share around here because sharing is caring. Remember that, folks? So we also share. Not only do we share our insights as to what's going on and what may be coming, but we also share this podcast right now. So go ahead and hit that thumbs up, no matter what platform you're on, whether it's video or the audio podcast. Hit a thumbs up. Do a share to your socials on Twitter and Insta and Facebook and TikTok and everywhere. We are at 365MCS.
Daniel, we've got a top topic today, and I wanted to sort of start off by taking a quick glance at these two messages, but we've got Dan Holme who's going to help us cover some of the content off, and you know what I'm talking about, aren't you?
I do. So we have the first message is Viva Engage replacing Yammer Community's app for Teams. And that's the first message. And then the second one is Storyline, available for public preview in Yammer and Microsoft Viva Engage. And these two obviously are talking about Viva Engage. And what is that? That is the new product that was the new addition to the employee experience platform that was announced at Inspire, the Microsoft partner conference last week.
Yeah, definitely. And there was some good conversation in the community, trying to understand and digest what was spoken about. And Dan Holme kindly offered his time to help explain that. So without further ado, let's take a look at that interview.
Hello, everyone. And today we are joined with Dan Holme, a product lead with Microsoft on the Viva Engage team. Hello, Dan. Thank you for joining.
Hey, Daniel, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Sure. Thank you so much. And we're coming off of a week of some great, exciting engagement with the wonderful conference that Microsoft has focused on partners. But it was a great announcement that we got during this week for Viva Engage. Will you help us out? Tell us what Viva Engage is in your own words.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were thrilled to finally take the wraps off of Viva Engage, which is a new employee experience in Microsoft Teams that really is designed to connect people across the organization, across business silos, working groups, so that everyone is included and engaged. And so that they can build communities, so that leaders and employees can engage more effectively, so people can share knowledge, ideas, and answers. And we introduce new experiences that allow individuals to really have a voice and to contribute to the greater good in the organization.
Yeah, and you talked about being in teams and how that it's going to be plugged in there. But how does Viva play in with the rest of the Viva suite, where we have Viva Connections and Insights and Learning? How does Viva Engage plug in but also enhance that Viva suite?
Yeah, great question. So at the highest level, Microsoft Viva is about providing employee experience integrated in the flow of work and the apps people use every day, like Teams. And Microsoft Viva is designed to integrate existing employee experiences from partners like SAP, Workday, but also to introduce employee experience innovations of our own across a set of capabilities, including culture, communications, knowledge and learning, insights and well-being. And over the recent couple of weeks, you might know we've added new modules for aligning people around shared goals, as well as role-based modules for sales. And of course, this week we introduced Viva Engage, which is about driving engagement across the organization. Now, while that sounds like a lot of moving parts, it's all integrated into Teams, and it will continue to be more and more integrated to create a fabric of employee experience in Microsoft Teams. So while the organization can pick and choose which scenarios are important, which apps to deploy to support those scenarios, in the end, users are in Teams and the employee experience comes to them.
And, a big part of this kind of experience with Viva Engage is stories and the storyline. What is storyline, and how does that raise engagement within an organization?
Thanks for asking that. One of the challenges of today's world with remote and hybrid work is that social connections between people, especially outside of working groups and across the organization, have really taken a hit. It's hard to establish and maintain personal social relationships, professional relationships inside of an organization. And research shows that those relationships are critical for employee well-being, so they feel supported, for professional and career advancement in an organization. And in our most recent Work Trend Index research, we found that 43% of leaders identified building relationships as the number one challenge of remote and hybrid work. So in order to solve that challenge of building relationships between people, we really have to put people at the center and give them an opportunity to participate, contribute, and connect with each other. So what Storyline does is it gives everyone a place to express themselves, to share their work experiences, to showcase the work of their team, and even to share, personal interests and passions so that people can be more connected as human beings at work. And you can think of Storyline kind of like LinkedIn inside the enterprise. It gives everyone a place to share. What you share through posts and stories, reach people across the organization. They can discover you, they can learn more about you, and they can connect and follow you. So Storyline is the place. On that place, there are posts very much like you would know today in Yammer, but coming from you directly to your followers and colleagues. And we introduce the innovation of stories, which are, of course, short videos and photos that are a great way to capture an experience, whether it's something you learned at a customer or your reunion with employees that you haven't seen since the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, I've already had conversations about Viva Engage with my team, and will be really, I'm looking forward to being able to have that engagement. And by the way, the name is a bit spot on, because I was having a conversation about it and trying to get some insights on, what I look forward to with the product with my team. And I kept saying engage and engagement a lot. So I think it's definitely spot on. But for me, being able to capture those videos, say in my own words, but also my own facial expressions, my own body language, be able to express myself to my colleagues, to my clients. I'm going to be doing more of that, of video. And so this really plays into that very, very well. I believe, because I do feel that we're connected, but digitally, and having meetings and having emails and messaging, it's just not the same as being able to see someone and being able to read their body language and all of that. So definitely, I think that, that research is spot on. But you mentioned posts being part of that Storyline, just like we're doing in Yammer now. What's the future of Yammer? And what is this? How does that play into Viva Engage? And where should people, organizations focus? In where they're going to put their time and their learning moving forward.
Super question. So Viva Engage is powered by Yammer. Yammer services, Yammer content are what create the experiences in Viva Engage. So Viva Engage heroes out communities, which people who've used Yammer know and love. That home feed experience of being able to see what's going on across the organization and serendipitously discover interesting content, communities, and people. And we're introducing these new experiences like Storyline and Stories. All of those are backed by Yammer. So first, that makes it very easy for customers to deploy. They know it, they understand the governance, security, compliance, all sits on top of Microsoft 365, all leverages the goodness that we have in our information protection and compliance space. We just are integrating it more deeply into teams. So the standalone experiences will still remain Yammer on web, Yammer on iOS and Android, but the integrated experiences in Teams and very, very soon Outlook will be Viva Engage, because Viva's promise is to integrate those employee experiences into the flow of work. Now, so the great news is customers who are using Yammer will see immediately familiar content and experiences. Customers who haven't had the opportunity yet will start to experience the superpowers of connecting people across the org.
Yeah, and I think I want everyone to hear that, where you've invested in Yammer, great. Mm-hmm. That investment's going to pay off, right? And it will continue to pay off here.
Absolutely. There's always been, every few months there's someone who posts a tweet that says Yammer is dead. Hopefully this convinces everyone it is definitely not. In fact, we're bringing more value to Yammer customers, and we are bigger, better, and have more investment than ever as we add new experiences expressed through Viva and into Yammer. And by the way, the new Viva experiences like Storyline and Stories will come to Yammer on web and mobile as well. So if a customer is fully integrated into Teams, they'll probably invest in the Viva Engage experience. If customers are not yet Teams customers, maybe they're heavy email customers, they will have the opportunity to continue to use Yammer.
Fantastic. And I can't wait to work with my clients and utilizing this power, but also, keep Yammer as part of that intranet experience, right? That's still going to be driving those conversations for the organization. So still very much part of what we're doing, what an organization uses to keep that communication and that engagement together. What would you say would be the next step for people to learn more about Viva Engage, how they can prepare themselves for when this goes live with general availability? What is the next step?
I think the first step or the next step really, is to learn more at aka.ms/Viva Engage. That will take you to our blog, to all the information about our announcement, and then to start planning and readying your organization to take advantage of its capabilities. One of the best things to do today is to start deploying the Communities app in Microsoft Teams. You can do that from the Teams Admin Center with just a couple of clicks. You can deploy the Communities app to everyone in your org. And you can even choose, and I recommend, that you pin it on the app bar on the left of Teams. Then in late August, when Viva Engage rolls out, a Communities app will be updated automatically. That won't require any administrative intervention. If that's a little too fast for you, you can wait till late August and you'll have the Viva Engage app to deploy. But deploying the app in Teams is really the key step, because as soon as that app is in Teams, you can take advantage of features for corporate communications. For example, you can go into the all company community, which is there by default, post an announcement, and you'll notify people across not only Viva Engage, but also Teams and Outlook.
Yeah, thank you very much for those resources. And I think you're right. If you're not using Yammer right now, then definitely start. Work with a partner if you need to do that. But then if you are using it, make sure you got the Communities app going in Teams and already being used. Because as the post was talking about, you're going to automatically, just like you said, update it with Viva Engage app. So won't have to go through various steps to make it happen. So I think that is wonderful. Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time and just really helping our audience and help everyone to understand a little bit more about Viva Engage and understand the resources that are available to them. Really do appreciate your time.
Well, it's a real pleasure. Again, thank you for having and taking the time to chat with me, and best wishes to you all. I hope you have a great summer.
Whoa. Thank you, Dan Holme.
Yeah,
that was
okay.
a good roundup there too. Some key questions around, where does this position Yammer? And I like how it was pretty clear that Yammer being the standalone experience, Engage being the integrated experience, that we should see things continue. And yeah, I think community is so important as part of this Viva engagement, employee engagement experience.
It very much is, and I feel like that more and more organizations are going to be looking at how they can utilize this, because he is spot on with that statistic about leadership really seeing a need to have that engagement with each other. I think the 43% of leaders say building relationships is the number one challenge for this whole hybrid work. And so how do we build those relationships, keep our people, and how do we do that? Well, this is one tool that could be used, and so I hope organizations take a second look or a third or whatever, but look at how they can use Viva Engage to enable really the sharing and growing together within an organization.
Indeed. So to round out the announcements for that, date-wise, we're expecting Yammer Communities app to be replaced in Teams by Viva Engage. And that is end of August. There was a date here somewhere. Yeah, late August. Complete by end of September. And I believe it was a similar thing for Storyline. late August, early September. And that'll be preview. Storyline will be in public preview at that time.
That's right.
Cool. Well, there's a lot more to get on with, Daniel, so
Yes.
let's do that indeed. What's our next one?
OneDrive/SharePoint review mode for Word documents, MC402119. This is rolling out targeted release mid-July, so nowish. In fact, I already have it in my targeted release tenant, and expect to be rolled out by late July, which is coming soon upon us. Standard release will be late July and then complete early August. And what this is a new option when you go to share, and it's only Word documents. When you go to share a Word document that is stored in OneDrive or SharePoint, you get that wonderful modal, that share, that those share options. Well, we're going to have a can review option. We previously have an edit and a view. Now we're going to have a review. And what this does when it sends it to the user and they open it up, it's going to open up the Word document in review mode. It's going to be, and what this allows them in this review mode allows them to do is make comments and to suggest edits, meaning they're actually going to be able to edit the document, but their suggestions, and it's like track changing the changes, right? So we were looking at it, and is this turning on the whole permissions, like protecting the document? Because Word, you can go in and say, protect this document, only allow reviewing. That's not what's happening. This is actually just opening it up in that review mode for those users that you've shared it with like this, so that they can make those suggestions. And then as the author, as the person with edit, I can accept those changes or not. Another thing to keep in mind is if you're sending this to someone who has edit permissions because they've been given edit before, then they're still going to have edit, right?
Highest permission?
Yes. So it's not, so don't think, you still have to pay attention to who already has access, and you can access, you can see who has access in that share. Remember, you can just look at the bottom and see who already has access and click on that, and it'll show you who already has access. So that's rolling out now. It's already in my targeted release dev tenant. So give it a try and test it out for how, maybe you want to showcase it for your users, because it's going to show up there. So you're going to need to help your users understand and adopt this new way of getting feedback from people. So make sure you understand it as well.
Sounds super useful. Daniel, my next one is interesting. I think that it could be helpful for return to school, or for those of us who like to have seating positions in our meeting rooms. Well, assign seats in together mode allows you to assign virtual seats and seating positions. This is MC402122. I had some fun recently, Daniel. I tried to make our own custom background, and I used the Simpsons couch. Now, we don't have a big team when we check in here in New Zealand, but I was able to place people in different positions on the couch to be like the Simpsons. But this is going to go one step further for whatever scene that you are choosing to use. Let's just open this up a bit here. There we go. We've got a different dialog box that will show the scene, show where those positions are, and then you can drag people over from the participants who you've invited and assign them seats. So this can happen before the meeting. That's kind of cool, that you don't have to wait till you're actually live and in there, because that would be a distraction. But you can pull things across. I think this is actually while the meeting's running, as you can see, because you've got people who are in the meeting and people who are also invited, but you're dragging the profile photos over, or if you don't have a profile photo, your alphabet soup. Yeah. What do you think,
So Darrell, tell me how this is useful. because, frankly, I'm finding it really difficult to find a reason why this is something that is needed. So tell me, what do you think? What is a reason that this is useful?
I think it depends on the scene that you might be using, as well as how you as a team might use the together mode. Our team uses it for when we do our stand-ups. We go into together mode because everyone sees the same order of people. And so running that and saying, okay, well, who's next, means that we know who's next because we can see that. Whereas if you're just using the gallery, everyone has a different experience of that based on who's, arrived when and when you've arrived. So that's one scenario. Okay. I think also in the education space too, that you might want to virtually put certain people up the front of the class or the back of the class. I don't know. That could be just a bit of fun.
I see, and that's the thing. I think on the surface, I looked at it and went, is this just to have a laugh? Is this just to be fun? But that example you gave is if you're giving a status update and you rearrange people by the order you want them to give the update, I mean, that can bring some value.
Yeah. So that is coming early September, complete late September in production. I think they mean just commercial. GCC tenants will feature this rollout did September. I think it's mid-September, complete mid-October. Lots of fun there. What does Heidi think about it? No, that's way too much admin for me. Yeah, organizing meetings and trying to get it all working nicely together. Maybe that's just a bit much, but
yeah. That's a lot of. But if you think about it, if it's a status update and there's 6 of you, right, and you're just wanting to get everybody, I can get on board with this. So I think it's it's got value. We need to have like a visual where we, it's like we determine each one if it has value or not, and then it goes, it has value, and it slaps it across the screen.
Pure gold. Boom. Yeah.
Speaking of value, next one up. This is Microsoft Viva Meeting Category Insights coming to Viva Insights app in Teams, MC403916. This is rolling out mid-August and late August completion. So we have all these meetings, and we talked about this before on the pre-live on the video about how we all have meetings and we're trying to manage these meetings, but we can, Outlook allows you to tag and label meetings. And so now users with a Viva Insights subscription are going to be able to see their meeting time, what type, have them in categories, and you'll be able to see it for, periods of time of, in the past, so like the last 3 months, and then what's coming up in the next 4 weeks. But those kind of things that are, give us insights as to what's happened, what's coming, and what are we focusing on. And give us those insights, no pun intended, although maybe it was, to be able to see, what are we working on? What are we meeting on? What are we spending our time on? In this graphic that's in the update, it shows that, for this person, it seems that customer meetings is the one that's taking up most of their time, along with team meetings and then one-to-one meetings. So if you're someone who's not focused on the customer, meaning you're more focused on product and you're not supposed to be meeting with customer, yet all your meetings or a majority of your meetings are with the customer, then you're doing something wrong. So, if your OKR is focus on product to get it out the door, and you're not doing that because you're focusing on customer experience with the current product, then you're not meeting your goals.
Great example.
So, the next message, Darrell, is actually staying with Viva Insights.
Does that surprise you? Because
So surprising.
I know, like with Partner Conference, Inspire, there were a lot of announcements around Viva, so it's good to see that it's following closely with messages and setting the expectation about when things are arriving. This one is more about a alignment, a rebranding, but a realignment of the different places that we engage in using Viva Insights are all going to start looking the same and be easier to access. So I know, Daniel, you're sitting there waiting. Darrell, come on. When are you going to try and say this title? Because
You're supposed to say it
Viva-
3 times fast.
okay,
3
no,
times
not,
fast.
not fast. Microsoft Viva Insights app in Teams : UI updates, Insights web app updates, and end user opt out. MC 403645.
It's a mouthful.
I feel like someone just grabbed that off their backlog list and said, here's the features we want you to release together. Flip. And there it is. Yeah. The alignment. All right. So what does this mean? The Viva Insights homepage will get it will be discoverable on insights.viva.office.com. Essentially, the My Analytics bits and pieces that have still hung around for a bit are now being wrapped up into naming of insights and branding and look and feel. You've got updates to the homepage. Let's have a look down here. Okay. So for those on the podcast, it does kind of still look reasonably similar. But yeah, what we're starting to see is a reshuffling of the order of what that content is and where you would see those insights. So the bottom of the home page, you're going to see some of those invites to be part of plans and actionable things like setting up focus time or setting up some quiet time. So there is that within our other experiences. So being able to this other thing that's supposedly quite important, that the ability to opt out of getting Viva Insights when you're in Teams. Now, this is more about, hey, I'm not really going to have time, or I'm not interested in seeing a wrap-up email of my insights for the day. I don't want to see insights popping up where I'm working. So you can opt out of that. However, do note that if you have a Viva Insights license applied to you, you might not want to see those insights about you, but the insights will still be aggregated for the organization to see and get insights about how people are working and how to improve things. So this opt-out is more about, I don't want to see it.
Quit spamming me.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's your attitude toward it, that's
Yeah.
what that's saying. Yep.
Yeah. So the other insights, if you have access to them, organizational insights, manager insights, that's all going to be wrapped up there too to make it a lot tidier. But that is about it in terms of that update. I was just chuckling away at the domain name, which is insights.viva.office.com. Like we're getting into a sub-domain kind of area for page nomenclature. That is due
Soonish.
mid-August, complete rollout early September. Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, Daniel, that's the
Yes.
show.
It was definitely a Viva show, which is awesome. We talked about Viva Engage, Viva Insights, and threw a little OneDrive and SharePoint and Teams in there. See? Wrap it all up all together. Really appreciate Dan Holme again for coming on the show, letting us hear more and get, I think, instead of just seeing words on a page, trying to explain what Viva Engage is, getting explanation as to what it is, but why it is. Why is this thing and these changes and everything. So really appreciate Dan coming on and doing that for us. And I'm really looking forward to what my customers and what we can partner with organizations to do with it. So I think that's going to be great. And please, everyone, right now, go ahead and share the URL to this podcast, to the video or to the audio, and share it out. Tag us at 365MCS, and we will amplify your post so more and more people can find us and get the benefits that you get from this show. Thank you so much for all of the chats that have been going on during the episode. Some great examples of why you would want to rearrange people in together mode in teams as we were talking about that. So thank you so much, everyone, for chiming in. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. And until next week, see you again. Bye for now.